At this point, we're ready to start putting it all together. And by that I mean we're going to take a look at what the plan was for the video and try to realize that plan as best we can using our existing footage, images, slides, B-roll video, voiceovers, whatever tools we have available to us. So I'm back in Final Cut Pro here, and one of the first things you would do at this point is to go through and look at your video if you haven't already done so, and preview it.
Training manager at a biopharmaceutical company, and today what we're going to do is look into problems that typically we end up having in our
I'm going to take a look at the end of this clip here.
High school, and I loved in the Virginia area. Let me start again.
Okay, and we can see that that was a take that she wasn't really happy with. She thought she could do better. This was our first take of the day. And one of the things that you can do in this software is just to reject this selection. So it just puts a red bar across the top. If I look at the next one here, I'm going to go near the end just to see how this one ends.
Sorry, I keep looking at it because I need this slide.
Okay, and this is another one where we needed to redo it. And I am pretty sure that since I've looked at these already, that this fourth take is the right one.
In other words, they're not extracted from a direct source, biologic source, or they're.
And let's see how it ends.
So we put in place corrective actions and preventative actions. The corrective action is to correct the actual root cause, and the preventative action is to make sure that it doesn't happen again in some other area.
Okay, and I'm sure this is the good one. I'm going to give that a little green star. And you can see here, just by quickly scanning, I can see which clips I've rejected, which clips I like, and will probably end up using. I can also say, just hide all the ones that are rejected, all the red ones. And so now I'll just have fewer clips to look at that will be good ones or ones that are maybes here. Okay, so that's one of the first things I'll do. You may be wondering how I have all these separate clips here. Every time you press pause when you're recording and then restart again to take another clip, it will create a separate segment when you load it into your computer, which is a great way of keeping track of things. So I highly recommend starting and stopping when between each take, so that you can quickly evaluate the take in its entirety and either accept or reject it, or there might be a portion of a take that you like, and that will work out as well. That's much easier than looking at 2 hours worth of footage as one big take and trying to make sense out of it. So as we talked about earlier, the first thing I want to do is start out with my Spark 101 title. So I'm going to drag that down to the bottom, and I'll preview that. That looks fine. And we want the title of the video to come up at the beginning, and I'm going to take a look at my downloads folder here, and I created a few of these titles already. Remember, these titles can't be, for this particular editor, can't be in Photoshop format, so I needed to export them as TIFF files. So I've got my title slide, and let's see what that looks like. And that looks okay. Yeah, I might make it a little bit longer here, give it a little bit more time. I think we'll go back to our presenter. I'm going to take this whole clip and drop it in there. And at the very bottom here, I can adjust the view, so I can compress it so that I can see more items on the screen, or expand it. So for things that are really short, like the titles, I might want to expand it when I'm working in this area as well. We talked earlier about transitions, I think you want to keep it relatively simple for this type of a project. So, for example, I'm going to just do a cross dissolve in between the two titles. I'm going to ignore this message here. It's not going to really matter too much. And after the second title, I'm going to fade down, and this will also fade back up again, I think. So let's see how this looks. So here we have our nice little animation. It dissolves into the title, fades down, and then comes up on our speaker. Now I probably need to trim this to make it a little bit tighter so her speech comes almost immediately. We want things as fast-paced as possible. And we talked a little bit about lower thirds in the PowerPoint presentation. I'm going to close this presentation and open up another one that I've been working on to give you an idea of what we want here for lower third. And lower third is just text that appears at the bottom of the screen. And this is the way we'll probably identify the speaker.
Hi, my name is Kristen Schultz. I work for Clean Currents. We're a clean energy company, and I'm here to speak with you today about...
And you want to keep it up long enough so the person can read it. Sometimes the person may identify themselves in some detail. Other times they may just start talking about the problem, but you do want to identify them and what their role is in the company. We talked earlier about putting in PowerPoint slides. The one thing I didn't show you was how to put in some video. So let's assume that early on in this presentation we want some video of the scientists working in the labs. So I'm going to take this video clip here, and just like I was doing earlier, I'm going to drag it on top of the speaker in the timeline. So here we see that row up here. And anything up on the top part is going to supersede the video that's below it.
To our employees. Before we do that, though, I want to give you guys a background into what biopharmaceuticals are and how we make them and manufacture them.
And you'll notice that we've got two audio tracks going here. Now the one of the scientists working is the audio is not important, so I'm going to just drag the audio bar down very, very low. So we might have a little bit of ambient audio, which might be suitable, or I could remove it completely.
Before we do that, though, I want to give you guys a background into what biopharmaceuticals are and how we make them and manufacture them. So to get onto that, let's talk about first what biopharmaceuticals are. They're basically a protein or a nucleic acid-based pharmaceutical. In other words, they're not extracted from a...
And looking at that, there's some benefits to seeing the scientists working here, but I'm also considering, well, maybe I should put in the slide showing the type of acid, because I know I have that diagram in our PowerPoint presentation. So I might mix it up a little bit, maybe show a little bit of the scientists working, maybe some other B-roll of the equipment, and then when she talks about the specific molecule, I may actually want to show that as well. So this gives you sort of the rough idea of how you would assemble it together. Again, with the video clips, once they're selected, you can drag the ends to shorten them or to lengthen them. You can split them up. You don't have to take the entire clip from your event library. You can just go in and say, no, I just want this tiny little segment here, and drag that down to the timeline. Lots of choices for you and lots of flexibility. With some of the programs, including Final Cut Pro 10 and iMovie, you can use the Ken Burns effect, and that is when you put a photograph in, you can pan left and right, or tilt up and down, or zoom in. These features are fairly easy to implement, and they do create a more interesting effect if they're appropriate, where you're talking about something in general and you want the viewer's interest to focus in a particular part of the image or the slide. When you're all done, you want to export the movie in its highest quality. So don't worry about trying to compress it to make it tiny. When you view these on the website, they're going to play back in a relatively large window in the browser. So the better the quality we have to start encoding, the better the final product will be.